Yes, Andrew Taylor lost 117 pounds over the course of 1 year by eating only potatoes and nothing else. I mean, literally no other food other than potatoes. There is another guy who lost close to 75 pounds in a period of, I think, 83 days, and by only eating potatoes and nothing else. Now, this basically flies in the face of everything that all these fitness gurus and all these nutrition gurus have been telling us, to not eat potatoes if you want to lose weight. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how you can to lose a ton of weight, not maybe 117 pounds or 75 pounds in 3 months or something of that sort, but a significant amount of weight, not by following the potato diet, but what we can learn from this diet, the very crucial and key principle that you can pretty much apply in any sort of diet and get good results with this. So what is up, guys? This is Sarang. If you don't know who I am, I teach you guys about weight loss, health, nutrition and all that kind of stuff. So in this video, we are going to talk about the potato diet, what we can learn from this guy, this Andrew Taylor guy, what he did, what we can learn from that to also lose a ton of weight. So before we really get into the video, I just want to clarify one or two things. The number one is I'm not recommending this diet to anyone because this is really not in an optimal, or I might even say that this is a sort of dangerous diet. You need to drill this in your mind that both of these guys that lost a ton of weight by only eating potatoes did it under medical supervision. So as long as you're not doing it under medical supervision, you shouldn't really even attempt this kind of diet. So before we really get into this, how this works, how by eating potatoes they were able to lose weight and what we can learn from that, you need to understand two major principles. The number one is the set point theory. I made a whole video on this topic. I'll link a card up there, but I'm going to give you just a quick summary. So what this set point theory basically suggests is whatever your weight is, say your weight is 100 kilograms, then your brain basically wants your body weight to be at that point. And anything, it doesn't matter what you do to decrease or increase that body weight over the period of a few months or an year or two, your brain will find some way or another to bring that weight back to that 100 kg set point. This is why most of the people lose a lot of weight by going on all kinds of diet, but eventually they gain all of that weight back because they are not really focusing on this crucial area of how your brain controls your body weight and your body fatness. So your brain is the thing that decides whether you are going to gain weight, whether you are going to lose weight, whether you are going to have a faster or slower metabolism, and these all factors that are basically that decide whether you are going to gain weight or lose weight, it is decided and controlled by your brain. So that is number one thing that you need to understand. The second thing that you need to understand is palatability and food reward. This is basically the holy grail of any weight loss diet that works. And when I say works, I mean it makes you lose weight and it helps you keep it off. The wiring of your brain is in a way that it really loves food that are very calorie dense and foods that have a very high palatability. So palatability is basically a very fancy term, palatability and food reward. All that means basically a food that is very tasty, or I'd say not just tasty, but a food that has a very good texture, very good taste, very good flavor. So think of a pizza. Pizza basically has a crust, that is the bread, it has one texture, then it has a cheese on the top that has another texture, another like salty kind of taste and flavor, then it has chicken on it, that is the umami and the meaty flavor. So it basically has a varying number of flavors, tastes and textures, because of which the palatability of that food is very high. So palatability is something that your brain really craves. If you are going to give it high palatability food, it's going to want to eat more of that food. Similarly, with palatability, your brain also likes calorie density. So think of a chocolate cake. Chocolate cake is very high in calorie density, and it is also high in palatability and food reward. So the thing is, when you eat these foods that have very high reward value, and these necessarily don't have to be the typical junk qualified food, it can be any food that you like too much. Think of any food that you basically eat on a regular basis and you really like it too much. So if you keep eating foods that give very high reward to your brain, in order to accommodate all those calories, in order to get more reward from the food, your brain is slowly going to raise that body weight set point, because it cannot keep the weight at 60 kilograms and eat all that food. If it wants your body to eat all that highly rewarding food, calorie dense food, then in order to accommodate all those calories, your brain has to increase the body weight set point. So this is how you gain weight over time. It is not because you overeat or because you love food. It is your brain that makes you fat. The whole big picture of this is, if you eat food that has very, very high reward value, that means your brain is getting very high reward, your brain is going to increase the set point. And the opposite thing happens when you eat food that has very, very low food reward value. When you eat food that has very low food reward value on a regular basis, your brain is going to lower that body weight set point in order to remain sane and to survive and all that kind of stuff. Your brain basically is evolved and built in that way that it is going to seek foods that have very high reward value. And if you don't give it high reward value, your brain is basically going to sort of, in a way, if I were to tell you, it's going to change the wiring itself, because of which you are going to lose weight, you are going to lower that body weight set point. So what happens in the potato diet is, if you just eat a plain baked or boiled potato without salt, without butter, or without adding anything on the top of that, potato basically is something that is very low in palatability and food reward. It basically just has one simple taste, one flavor, and just one smooth texture that is really not very appealing to your tongue and your mouth. So potato is something that has the least reward value in the entire food section on this planet Earth. So when you eat potatoes consistently without making them too tasty, without adding too much salt or butter or any of that kind of stuff, your brain basically gets no reward. You basically strip out all the reward from your food, because of which your brain has to eventually lower that set point. So what we can learn from this is, it doesn't matter what kind of diet you're doing, if that diet is not focusing on food reward and it is only focusing on the calories you are getting or the macros you are getting, you are not going to have much success with your weight loss. If you really want to lose weight, what you need to focus on a diet that is very, very nutrient dense, has good quality macronutrients, micronutrients, in addition to the palatability and reward value. That means the food that you're eating should not be of very high reward. So I'm going to give you two advices that you can follow in your diet. It doesn't matter what kind of diet you are doing, you can adopt these two things. The number one is, you need to cut out all the hyper-palatable junk food from your diet. So any food that you like too much and you're sort of eating it on a regular basis or even on a weekly basis, like what most of the people out there do is they eat very clean and very healthy the 6 days of the week, and on the 7th day they eat like ice cream, pizza, burger. And I understand that that makes them keep following that diet for a longer period of time. But at least for the initial 8 to 12 weeks, what you should be doing, in my opinion, is you should cut out completely anything that you like. It doesn't matter what kind of food that is, if it is healthy whole food or it is junk food, you need to cut out all those foods for the initial 8 to 12 weeks, then you can add it back on the weekly basis. The second thing you need to do is, whenever you are eating anything, you need to decrease the variety of texture, taste and flavor in your food. What I mean by that is, if you're eating, say, like a typical Indian meal that has roti, rice, dal, some sabzi and something like that, then it is just too much variety of texture, taste and flavor. So like roti and dal are exactly opposite. It has taste, flavor and texture. So if you just keep this variety, then it is basically going to trick your brain and your body to overeat on food. That is basically also we can say a sort of high rewarding food. Decrease the palatability and the reward value of your food that you're eating, and you will experience significant amount of weight loss. So that's it for this video. If you have liked it, if you have enjoyed this, if you have learned anything from this video, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.